This is Seattle, Washington, the largest city in the state and one of the prominent cultural and commercial centers on the West Coast. It's also one of the most beautiful. Set along the shores of Puget Sound and framed by the Olympic and Cascade Mountains, the cityscape presents a spectacular panorama. The allure of this landscape has been drawing settlers to the area for well over a century. And the first attempt to forge a permanent community started here at Elk-Eye Point in West Seattle. It was a wet and miserable day in November of 1851 when a brig named Exact dropped anchor in Elliott Bay. A group of 22 pioneers who had come to Puget Sound from the Oregon Territory to scout homesteads rowed ashore. Among the group were the Denneys, Borens, and Bells, the men, women, and children who were to become the founding citizens of Seattle. They had arrived in the worst possible weather, and their new homeland offered them scant welcome. "I remember it rained awful hard that last day," one of the women wrote. "The starch got took out of our bonnets and the wind blew, and when the women got into the rowboat to go ashore, they were crying, every one of them, and their sunbonnets with all the starch out of them went flip-flap, flip-flap, flip-flap." The pioneers set to building cabins and logging timber to ship to California, but their efforts were hampered by their location. Elk-Eye Point, they found, was subject to shifting winds, currents, and tides that made it hard for ships to drop anchor. In need of a better harbor, the pioneers turned their attention across the bay. By dropping a horseshoe tied to a clothesline, they found the deepest water just offshore from present-day Pioneer Square. Denny, Boren, and Bell each staked a claim and moved their families to the new site. They were soon joined by another newly arrived pioneer, Henry Yesler. Yesler gave the tiny settlement a big boost when he decided to build a sawmill on the waterfront. The mill took advantage of the thickly wooded hillsides that bordered the shore, and before long, Seattle's first industry was underway. It was the start of something big. The town quickly spread out along the shore as more settlers arrived to take advantage of the natural resources. By the turn of the century, Seattle was a firmly established city with a population of over 80,000 and a thriving economy. Today, the landscape that attracted the original settlers still lures new residents to Seattle. And the city continues to spread out on a steady path of growth and prosperity.